All right guys, it's Ryan from RJ Martindale. I run 2 plumbing and heating businesses in the Northwest. Struggled in business for the first 7 years, growing sales to around 300,000, but in the last 12 months, we've done 1.6 million annually just with private residential customers. In no way do I feel I'm an expert in this field, but this is just my journey on the progression that we've gone through in growing and building a team. Every member of the team that you take on, every employee, I don't like the word staff, that's why I say team. It almost feels like they're beneath you and they're absolutely not. Without my team, I've got nothing. But every member of the team that you do take on, you're learning. I'd say I've learned more in the last 3 years than the last 10 that I've been in business, maybe because we've taken a lot more people on. But you're learning and you can read as many books as you want, same with the marketing. You can read as many books as you want until you're actually doing it and feeling it and making mistakes and getting better. It's just a constant learning game. But anyway, let's get into it. There's several ways of getting new employees inside the office and out on the field. The most common in our industry would be apprentices. Second will probably be friends and family. Both of these I have mixed views about. You've then got recruitment sites. We've had a fast track engineer from the army, which I'll get into, and the latest will be YouTube. So I'll run through all them 5, my experience with it, and what I would have potentially done a little bit different. The first and most common in our industry would be to take on an apprentice. This is what they were doing 20, 30 years ago. It was much more common back then. There's certainly a shortage now, and there's a few reasons why for that, which we can talk about. But the ideal process would be bring a lad or a lass, a girl on from school, train them up. They would do day release. Let's say they're doing 1 day in college, 4 days on the tools. You're teaching them on the tools. They're learning the theory. In an ideal world, they get the qualification at college. They then add more value into your business. You increase their wage. They add more value to the business. They then end up in their own van and they're off. You can repeat that cycle. You're almost building a recruitment cycle with your apprentices as they train up. The problem with that is it takes so long in our industry. It takes so long, and like my first before I found a decent apprentice, I went through 5 or 6, and you can easily go through 6, 7, 8 before you find a decent lad. At that point, when you've found a decent lad, and it might get a bit deep for some people, they might not agree with it, but I feel they can be riddled with bad habits. You've got to break that character down and rebuild them into the working environment or into your business. Put the true values in there, which will be simple things, fundamentals, aside from the day-to-day of the job, like cleanliness, punctuality, timekeeping, all that type of stuff, how they talk to customers. They've never been taught these areas, and that is more important, in my opinion, than actually on the tools. If you can fix that, if you can get that right, that's half of the battle, and you've got a good chance of having a great lad. And that apprentice that we took on has become Dan, that you've seen in some of the videos. He's become qualified, he's super technical, brilliant lad, and he's now helping surveying jobs and helping the day-to-day operation of the business. So that's a great example. Now, I've not taken on an apprentice now for 4 years. I've got Aaron and Theo, that are 3-4 years down the line, that are nearly qualified and they're ready to go in vans in the next 12 months. I feel it takes 4 years to get them qualified, 4 or 5 years, and to get them good. But before they're great, it's 7 to 8 years. The problem that you've got with apprentices or any trainees, they go through a dangerous stage at around 3 to 4 years where they can do a bit, but they've not got the experience of making them mistakes. Your job is to try and prevent that, but it is going to happen, and you need to protect that as much as possible. But if you do get all the way through, it's a fantastic way of bringing on great engineers that are a product of you. They're like the purest form of you. They've not been diluted by other companies, other engineers. They're straight from school and they work as you work, which will be great. When I say I've got mixed views, the problem with apprentices now is they're so expensive. Apprentice might watch this and think, are you joking? Like, are you mad? But it is expensive. To bring an apprentice on, the cost to run them just to hold your toolbox for the first couple of years, it is at a loss, and they can hold you up. They can, if you're on a two-man job, you need them. But let's say you're a service and repair engineer, you don't necessarily need that. It is an investment, and that investment isn't going to come good. It's not going to pay dividends for 4 or 5 years, and you've no support from the government. We're actually paying for Theo. I'm paying the college to bring him through. There should be incentives to help drive these apprentices and bring more into the field. There is a shortage, certainly a shortage, and I feel we will see this in the next 20 to 30 years where there'll be a big skill shortage in the area. I do feel that, and I'm not well up with politics and all the rest of it, but I do feel the government should be putting more incentives to bring apprentices on and get them on the way. If you do have apprentices as well, my belief is you need to make them feel part of the team. Years ago, you would be here, engineers would be here, and apprentices would be beneath. In this modern day world, I don't believe that's the right way. I'm very vocal. I probably go against the grain with a lot of stuff, talking about figures and the progression of the business. But I feel to retain a team, to retain a strong team, you should involve them. Let them know when the business is doing well and also when the business is doing poor. So when they're coming into work, they at least know, aside from the job, what they're working for. Some of them may not be interested at all, but I feel you've much chance of retaining your apprentices once they're qualified, or your staff, by making sure they're involved. And as soon as you can get them in that van and out on their own, the better. Try not to keep them stuck at the side of you just to help you get through the day. If you're at that point, you run the risk of the apprentice not progressing. The business won't progress, you won't progress, the apprentice won't progress, his wage won't go up, and that's when you again run the risk of losing your apprentices. But I feel if you get it right, you can end up with fantastic engineers. We've got 3 of them, and at some point I will look at taking on some more. The second hire after my apprentice would be a fast-track gas engineer from the army, which is Luke, who's still with us today. Bit of a funny one this, because it's completely against, like, engineers, it rubs them up a little bit the wrong way. How can an individual come from the army, do a 6-week, 6-month course and be gas safe? And at first I was a bit unsure. This came about from a Facebook message from Luke's wife, who knew a friend of a friend, and said, we've got Luke, he's dead enthusiastic, he wants to get into the industry, he's gas safe but no experience, can you do anything? I'm about 22, 23 at the time, really inexperienced myself, but I thought, let's just go and have a chat with him. Now, what I didn't know at the time, and you refer back to the apprentices that are leaving school talking about habits and beliefs and all the rest of it, Luke's come from the army that have had them habits drilled into him, okay? When he came and how he is now, super clean, Luke's the part, clean and tidy, van's mint, he's punctual, timekeeping's great, super loyal, he's been at the army for 10 years. Half of the battle is done, no pun intended, but half of the battle is done. And we honestly, flipping it, when I think back now, we struggled like 2-3 years. Luke, I would send Luke to a boiler and just tell him to ring me when he gets there, and that's how we did it. I got a second van, send Luke out on his own. He might be servicing or doing a breakdown. He'd ring me. We'd talk through the fault finding, and we just got through it. But Luke, after 3-4 years, Luke became a brilliant engineer, and now he's been with us 7-8 years. And he's just a great asset to the team. He's out in the van and he's bringing apprentices through now. So bit of a different one, and you could have really a mixed bag with that. You don't know what engineer is going to come through when it's who's come from the army. You don't know the situation. It just turned out with Luke, we put the work in, again disproportionate amount of hours, working late, and we made it happen. So that was my second way of getting what would be my first gas safe engineer. Third for me was friends and family. And a lot of businesses across the board fall into this cycle of just getting the friend, somebody they know, or the family, the brother or the sister, they give them a chance. And in an ideal world, it works. Unfortunately, it's sad to say, I had no success with this. I took my own brother on, again, which was a shame, because I took my brother on wanting to give him a chance, becoming a gas safe engineer, giving him a career, and I thought it would be great. I did the same with one of my friends, one of my best friends from school, did the same thing with him, but unfortunately, they see you from a completely different angle. It's hard for them to understand. you being a business owner. Again, I was younger at that time. I'd probably be 24 at this point, 23, 24 again, inexperienced. They don't have the respect for you. In most cases, if there's some family businesses out there that have made it happen, brilliant. My family business has got 3 brothers. They don't really get on, and that dynamic's a little bit different. But for me, it just didn't work. My brother would start turning in late. He would turn in late and think that he could get away with it, but you cannot let that happen. I don't care whether it's your friend, your family. I mean, to be honest with you now, I see my own team now as like my family, but my actual friends and family that come on board, if you don't deal with them quick, it infiltrates the rest of the business, and you cannot have that. As soon as there's one bad egg that's causing a problem, you've got to get them out. You've got to get them out as soon as possible, and that's what I needed to do. And unfortunately, it was sad because I would have liked to have made it work, but it just didn't. That being said, I have a good relationship now with my brother and my pal, just aside from work. Number 4 would be online sites and recruitment companies. Now, this is a different game altogether. You've grown your business to a level where you need a qualified engineer fast. You know it's going to take too long to bring your apprentice through, your friends or family, or your fast track engineer. You need somebody that is skilled and experienced, and them online sites are like the Wild West. You could either get somebody that's fantastic, okay, and the CV in our world means nothing. Anybody can dress a CV up that you're gas safe, your MVQ, your whatever. It's all rubbish, it's all irrelevant. They could be absolutely fantastic or riddled with bad habits, down to the workmanship, the punctuality, the respect. They may have lost love for the game. And you've got to find that out fast, and it is difficult to do that. But here's a few things that I am doing now, implementing into our business to try and qualify an engineer, and then what I do when I get an engineer on board. So again, you can dress a CV up as much as you want. What I will generally do is, if I see somebody that is in the local area that looks okay, I'll speak to them direct, I'll tell them a little bit about me. A big difference that I've got now is I can send them to our YouTube channel, and they can decide whether they like me or they don't like me, which is absolutely fine. That speeds up the process. If they do, we can then have a conversation. I normally go to the Cafe Italia, which is in a previous video, and I'll just go for an informal chat. The girls in the office think it's mad that I should bring them into the office, but I like just going for a coffee and having a chat with them. And at that point, I'm more interested in their values as a person before I start talking about the business. The members of the family, what they're into, what's the daily routine, just to get an understanding of where their heads are and what they're about, and if they will be a right fit for the team, which is the most important. Not necessarily a right fit for me, but for the team. And then if all that is okay, then to try and qualify your engineer, whether it is a gas safe engineer or an electrician, if you think about different parts of your job that you do, let's say for instance, you're a plumbing and heating company, and that could be split into different areas: boiler installation, service and repair, general plumbing work. And one way of qualifying your engineer and getting an understanding is by asking them questions like, how many boilers would you say you fitted in the last 12 months? 0 to 10, 10 to 20, or 50 to 100. Do the same with boiler repairs. Have you repaired 1 to 10 boilers this year? 20 to 30, 50 to 100. Same with plumbing. How many baths have you installed? How many emergency reactive jobs have you installed? It might be, how many air conditioning installations have you installed? If an engineer comes back to you and says, I'm a boiler installation, I've been fitting boilers for 25 years, and he says I've done 5 a year, you know straight away that his skill set is going to be nowhere near the likes of a Scot that is with us that's fitting 5 boilers a week. There's a big difference. Same with installing a boiler. Are you a service and breakdown engineer, or are you just a service engineer? Because there's a big difference, and that gets exposed as soon as they start. You could ask them questions like, if they're working on a Worcester boiler, how many right-hand blocks have you replaced? How many left-hand blocks have you replaced? And you'll start getting an understanding of actually how capable these engineers are. If you've sorted your values out, you're well happy with that, you're competent, or you believe that they're competent in what you're doing, I then bring them on board and I send them out with one of my engineers. I'll send them out for a week or 2 weeks. In some cases, it's normally a rush because we're mad busy and I've not prepared myself properly in getting an engineer in terms of onboarding, and there's so many things where we need to get better. I'll throw them in the deep end with an engineer, and before you know it, they're on their own. But I'm straight onto that engineer and I'm asking them, right, how did you get on? What's the red light? How are they thinking? What's the process when they go into a customer's house, speaking to the customer? And all you can do is bring them on fast and fire faster. I know that's said everywhere, but in our industry, it's super true. It's difficult to hire slow because you need them. You hire fast, go through the qualification process and get shut of them faster if they're not right. In your mind, you just want them to be right. That is what you want. You don't want to get rid of somebody. It's awful. But that's the process that I've gone through. And so far, as we progress, you just get better each time. You could go a step further as well. Going back on myself a little bit, you've gone through your process in the cafe. It would be worth then going into the office for a conversation and having a member of the team watching that interview or interviewing that person, and you listen to it from a different angle. That would be good. It might be the girl that's looking after your accounts or answering the phone, whoever, and you might see a different side to that person. But I just believe, get them in fast. If they're not right, get shut of them quick. Because if you don't, again, they'll infiltrate your team and bring everything down. So yeah, that's number 4. Number 5, YouTube. Now there's 2 sides to this, and I'm coming at it from a different angle to a lot of the creators that are out there that are doing a fantastic job. Breakdown engineers, installers, builders that are grafting video and all the work, which is brilliant, and then editing videos. Like, I've not got the time. I'm not prepared to put in the time for that. I've got 2 young kids, school runs, nursery runs, a girlfriend that runs her own business. That's another video. So I'm busy. So during the day, I need to be running a business. I cannot be editing videos. So I decided, because I'm quite impulsive, I need a videographer. This is the first side of it. So I thought I'll take a videographer on who's actually a photographer, Dan, that's come into video, inexperienced. And I thought, I'm inexperienced. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been on camera before, but between us, let's see if we can make something work. So my first hire was to get somebody to edit videos for me and film. And then the second side to it was not necessarily to get customers, which is probably different to what most people will be thinking. I wanted to use YouTube as a recruitment tool to potentially build a bit of an audience of plumbers and heating engineers. And if they can buy into what we're doing, they would potentially want to work for us. And the other side to it, 3 sides, would be to use it to update my team in Lancaster and Bolton. Completely different way of thinking from the traditional business, but I just felt they're not going to see me day to day, and logistically it's hard to see everyone. So if we can film what we're doing and the progression of the business and the day to day, they can be part of it. At first, we're going to keep all that internal before YouTube. Keep it internal, do video updates, and they can see what's happening. Brilliant. But then we just thought we'll put it on YouTube, and in fairness, it's had some great interest, and we just play it. I've not been taking it serious, which I am going to try as I get more comfortable to put more effort in. But it has led on to taking on Ben, our engineer that's in the purple van at the minute, that's working mainly in RJ Martindale, but he's over in Darwin. I don't think I'd have ever found Ben directly from a recruitment site. But he's watched our videos, bought into what we're doing as a business, bought into me. Bit of a funny one actually, because when I actually interviewed or had my informal chat at the cafe with Ben, it was like he knew me. I'd never met him before, but it was like he knew me because he's consumed our content. It was great. So that was Ben. And then I've had 2 other engineers that I offered jobs and I was struggling to get them in. They actually turned me down. But then they started watching I believe they started watching our content and again bought into what we were doing, and I managed to get Matt, that was a previous BHE engineer, over, that's now become a great asset to the team, and also the recent hire, which would be Warren, that used to supervise 40, 50 of the BHE vans on the previous contract. He's come on board as an operational role that's helping at the minute with health and safety, as well as a hybrid role of being on the tools as well. So I would say from YouTube alone, we've got Dan, the videographer, initially, and then we've had 3 engineers that have come on board. And I'm sure if I do need engineers and I push more, we'll get more from YouTube. Albeit, there's a lot of work and there's a lot of cost that goes into it. I'm definitely at a loss, but I think long term, 4 or 5 years down the line, it'll pay dividends for us. And number 6 that I nearly forgot about, which has been massive for the business, both on a marketing level, getting customers, and a recruitment tool. And that would be taking on BHE services, the business acquisition. In that one move alone, we've managed to take on Catherine, which is working across BHE and RJM. She's answering the phone, helping the day-to-day operations. Same with Louise, she's doing the same role. She's come on board. So we've got two ladies in the office there, and we've had the 2 engineers, Connor and Stuart, in the Lake District. These have all come on board from that one move that we've done, taking on BHE. Again, it wasn't massive BHE once they lost the contract, but a good enough size to bolt onto our business. And as we go into our next busy season, we're ready to go for it. So in that one move, we found 4 new employees and great members of the team. I did, however, needed to get shut of a few of the members straight away because I felt from the start they were not a right fit for the team. And if they're not, doesn't matter how busy you are, you've got to make them difficult decisions fast, and that's what we did. And yeah, I can honestly say we've got a fantastic team both in the office and out on the field. The girls in the office are bouncing off each other. The lads, when they're out on the field, they're struggling on a job, they're helping each other out. It's just working brilliantly. There's no resistance between girls in the office and the engineers, or if there is, yeah, you deal with it quick and you make sure overall everybody's working together. And it's my job, certainly when you get past 10, 15 employees, to make sure that the culture and how we work doesn't get diluted through. It's got to be as pure as it can, and that is how we'll continue to keep growing and building the best team. Going out on the tools, I say it all the time, it's only a small percentage. It's only a small percentage of the overall structure of the business. So yeah, that's been my progression of growing and building a team. I'll not ramble on anymore. If you think there's any other ways of getting great members into your business, let me know and I'll certainly try it. If you found any value, like and subscribe, please, and I'll see you next week.